Hey, it's Mark Ferguson with Invest for More, and I want to talk about solar in this video and the things that you may not know as far as selling, the costs you may have, liens, and other issues if you get solar on your house. Now, this is a foreclosure. I just bought it from an auction, and it almost cost me the deal or $38,000 because this house had solar on it. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about another deal I did where we had to replace the roof on a house flip and how much extra that cost me because of that solar and how much it cost the sellers of that house because they had solar. And we'll talk about some other interesting solar stories I've got. And these aren't just, what ifs or hypothetical. These are real life situations that happen with solar, and the solar companies don't always tell you how it all works. All right, so this house I just bought from a foreclosure sale. It was an auction. It had gone through the foreclosure sale before this auction, and it had solar on it. So I was the winning bidder at $249,500, which was cheaper than I thought I would get it for, and it could be because it had this solar system on it. Well, the title company for the auction company said, we are not going to insure this house because of that lien, or we're going to make an exception for that solar. And the previous owners still owed $38,000 on that system. So I'm not sure if they had leased it or what had happened, but here's the payoff that shows $38,327 owed and $1,768 in accrued interest as well. And the title company for the auction company said, we're not paying this. It's a lien against the company. It survives foreclosure. And then they said that I'm using a private money lender, and they sent it to my lender. My lender's like, well, I'm not going to lend you this money if there's this lien ahead of me for $40,000. So it was a huge mess. I'd put $12,000 down as earnest money for it being an auction property. And if I canceled, I would probably lose that. So I was trying to figure out what to do. And what I ended up doing is I talked to my title company. I said, hey, there's this solar lien on it. Would you insure this? Is this something that stays with the property after foreclosure? And that title company came back and said, yes, we would insure it. The lien is against the equipment, not the house. So that lien stays with the equipment, not the house. So technically, if this solar company wants to, they could come back and take the equipment. And that is fine with me. They can come have it, take it away, and then we'll keep the house. So that's the first crazy situation. I don't think people realize how much money these systems cost, and it's not just a free system that you're getting and you're getting free electric. No, you are taking on a lot of debt for many of these systems, and that will count against your debt to income ratio. If you want to buy another house, it can make it harder to buy another house. Some of these systems, if they're leased, the new buyer has to qualify for them, or you've got to pay them off before selling the house, like I said, and that's an extra 40 grand you've got to pay off, or maybe less, or maybe more, depending on the system. So here's another property, and this is the crazy divorce house property. And this was when they're tearing off the roof. And I had to get a new roof on this house. I actually had to go to court to testify in this house because there's a dispute between the two parties who own the house. I think I just bought the super at that time. That's exciting. And the husband wanted to sell the house. The wife didn't. Went to court, testified. They ended up forcing the sale. I bought it. And then the wife would not leave. It was crazy, but we got her out. But this house had solar. So I think they had to pay $15,000 to pay off this solar system before selling it. And otherwise, they can't sell the property. I don't want to take it on with that lien. But that wasn't all of it. We had to replace this roof. And so insurance didn't cover it. We knew the roof was bad. We'd asked the sellers to replace the roof with their insurance. They had such a horrible situation, they didn't even want to do that. They just reduced the price of the home, said you guys can deal with the roof. And when we did that, we had to take off the solar to replace the roof. Well, it was an extra $5,000 to take that solar off, store it, put it back on. And we thought it was going to be stored in a truck in a nice situation. That's not exactly what happened, but we'll show you. So that was taken off, then put back on the home. And a lot of people too will say, well, hey, insurance will cover it. No problem if there's hail damage, other issues. True, but your insurance might go up a little bit if they know there's going to be that extra cost they have to incur for taking off the solar. So that's something to consider as well. And there, yeah, you can see them working on the roof as well. That was kind of a nice house. It was an interesting property, interesting story. I'll try to link to that one below in the comments. I'll try to link to that first house too. We just bought that first house, and it's a little smelly, that's for sure. But when they took the solar off this house, they just leaned it against the house with some like sheets over it. We thought, they told us they're going to put it in a truck. It'd be safe and secure and taken care of. No, that wasn't what they did. But they got the solar put back on. I think everything worked fine. We ended up selling the house, and there was a dead bird. Not sure I can blame the solar on that. Not sure where that came from. But it cost the sellers of this house probably $25,000 extra because they had solar on it. Now, did it save them money on their electric bill? Probably, but they're still paying for that solar every month too. So did they really save any money in the grand scheme of things? Probably not. It probably cost them a lot of money. The person who lost the first house to foreclosure has this lien against them still. So that lien is against the person and the equipment. So just because their house went through foreclosure doesn't mean that lien against them went away. So they've still got this lien against them for $40,000. Not sure if the solar company will go after them or try and collect it or what will happen there, but that's a huge chunk of money against you, especially if you're in a bad financial situation and lost your home to foreclosure. Now, there's another situation where we saw a house listed for sale just recently. In the broker comments, it said $9,500 lease transfer fee for the solar system. So they had solar, it was leased, and the solar company was charging $9,500 to transfer that lease to the new buyers. So it is crazy some of the costs you can incur, some of the costs that aren't always told to you in the most upfront way. So if you're thinking of getting solar, if you want to put solar in your house, remember a few things. One, it's not just free, right? There could be a large lien, a large amount of money you're agreeing to pay back. If you sell the house, if something happens to the house, it doesn't just magically disappear. You still owe that money. So realize that. Now, something else to think about. If you lease the solar, you may have a lease transfer fee. The new buyers of the house may have to qualify for that lease. And if they're already pushing it for qualifying for the house, they might not be able to buy the house. And in general, we've sold a few houses with solar as real estate agents. They usually tend to sell for less money than those without solar because of these issues. Someone delivered a pizza to the wrong address here at this house. Forgot about that. We did not eat it. It had been there a couple of days. So it's not all it's cracked up to be. A lot of these things are hidden. Just realize it's not just free just because your utility bill is covered. You're still borrowing a lot of money either through a lease or through a purchase that will have to be paid back. So if you really want to see if it's worth it, don't think about, your electric bill being covered or whatever it is. Look at how much electricity the solar system is supposed to produce. Look at what that's going to cost you, and then see what the return on investment is for that system. And if you want to look at tax credits, whatever, that's fine. But realize you may be paying for that if you sell the house early, have any other issues come up. And something else to consider too, your insurance might go up. If you don't have insurance that covers a roof damage, you're going to pay more for that. And solar can get damaged too in hailstorms or in this instance as well. This is in the golf course where we normally play golf, and there's a house with solar, and its panels are just destroyed from golf balls. So probably shouldn't get solar if you live next to a golf course either. All right, thanks for watching. Make sure that you ask what's going to happen if you sell your house with the solar system. Who knows, maybe even refinancing it could cause issues too. There's a lot of things to think about. We'll see what happens with this house if they try and take the system back or try and make us pay. It'll be interesting to see because we're not paying that lien. It still is against the old owner. It's not against the house. And I doubt they're going to let us just have a free system. So we may be having this taken away at some point, and not sure really when that will happen. All right, take care. We'll be back soon, have progress of this house, all their flips, laundromats, all that stuff coming up soon.